With the threat from the conspirators eliminated, Isabella and Marcus finally stepped into a phase of their lives filled with unadulterated joy and tranquility. Thompson Enterprises, under Isabella's astute leadership, and with Marcus' unwavering support, was flourishing. The company had not only recovered from the previous setbacks, but was now soaring to new heights, expanding its reach in the global market. Isabella, having successfully navigated the stormy seas of corporate challenges, decided to take a step back and delegate more responsibilities to her trusted team. This newfound freedom allowed her to focus on what truly mattered: her life with Marcus. Marcus, too, found himself with more time on his hands, as his security and investigative efforts had significantly reduced the threats to the company. On a sunny weekend morning, Isabella woke up to the delicious smell of fresh brewed coffee. She stretched lazily in their large, comfortable bed and turned to find Marcus already up. She followed the scent of coffee to the kitchen, where Marcus stood shirtless, in a pair of low-slung sweatpants, pouring two cups. He looked up as she entered and smiled, his eyes lighting up at the sight of her. "Good morning, beautiful. I thought you could use a nice, strong cup of coffee to start the day," he said, handing her a cup. Isabella took the cup and leaned in to kiss him. "Thank you, Marcus. This is perfect." They sat at the kitchen table, enjoying their coffee and chatting about their suggested a picnic in the park. Plans for the day, Marcus and Isabella readily agreed. Later that day, they spread a blanket under a large oak tree in the park. The sun filtered through the leaves, creating a dappled pattern on the ground. Isabella unpacked a delicious spread of sandwiches, fruits, and a bottle of champagne. As they ate, they talked about their dreams for the future. Isabella spoke of expanding Thompson Enterprises into new, untapped markets, while Marcus shared his vision of starting a foundation to help underprivileged youth interested in law enforcement and business. After their picnic, they took a long walk around the park, hand in hand. They stopped to watch a group of children playing on the swings, and Isabella couldn't help but imagine a future where they had a family of their own. "Marcus, do you ever think about having kids?" she asked, looking up at him. Marcus smiled and squeezed her hand. "Of course, I do. I can't wait to have a family with you, Isabella. But for now, I'm just happy enjoying our life together." Back at home, Isabella received a call from one of her top executives at Thompson Enterprises. There was a minor issue with a new product launch, but Isabella, confident in her team's abilities, calmly provided some guidance. Over the phone, Marcus watched her, admiring her poise and leadership. When she hung up, he said, "You're amazing, Isabella. You handle everything with such grace and confidence." Isabella blushed. "Thanks, Marcus, but I couldn't do it without you. You're my constant source of support." As the evening wore on, Isabella and Marcus decided to have a quiet night in. They curled up on the couch, watching an old movie and sharing popcorn. Halfway through the movie, Marcus turned to Isabella and kissed her. The kiss quickly deepened, and they found themselves lost in each other's embrace once again, their love and passion for each other burning brighter than ever. In the days that followed, Isabella and Marcus continued to enjoy their sweet life together. They explored new restaurants in the city, went on weekend getaways to the countryside, and even took up dancing lessons together. Their relationship was not just about love and passion. It was about building a life together, supporting each other's dreams, and finding joy in the simple things. And as they looked forward to the future, they knew that their love and the memories they were creating would carry them through whatever challenges might come their way. As Isabella and Marcus continued to revel in their new found peaceful existence. A family gathering loomed on the horizon. Isabella's extended family, many of whom had been distant during the tumultuous times of the company's struggles, now saw an opportunity to reconnect. The occasion was Isabella's grandmother's 80th birthday, and it was to be a grand affair, filled with the city's elite. Isabella and Marcus arrived at the opulent mansion. Hand in hand, the house was adorned with expensive decorations, and the sound of classical music filled the air. As they made their way through the crowd, Isabella was greeted with a flurry of hugs and well wishes from her relatives. However, not all the interactions were warm. Isabella's cousin Amelia had always been envious of Isabella's position in the family and the success of Thompson Enterprises. Amelia, a socialite who had never quite managed to make a name for herself in the business world, could resist making the comment, "Well, Isabella, it seems you've finally managed to get the company back on track. I measure it was NTZ, especially with all your distractions," she said, eyeing Marcus. Isabella, used to Amelia's cattiness, smiled politely. "Yes, it was a challenging journey, but with Marcus' support and the hard work of our team, we've achieved a lot. And distractions? Marcus has been my rock," she replied, squeezing Marcus's hand. Marcus, sensing the tension, stepped in. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Amelia. Isabella has told me so much about her family, and I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone better." His charm disarmed Amelia, and she was forced to smile back. As the evening progressed, Isabella and Marcus were approached by a group of influential business people. They were eager to discuss potential partnerships with Thompson Enterprises. Impressed by the company's recent growth, Isabella engaged in lively conversations, sharing her vision for the future of the company. Marcus, standing by her side, added his insights whenever appropriate, making it clear that he was not just Isabella's partner in life but also in business. During a lull in the conversation, Isabella and Marcus stepped out onto the balcony for some fresh air. The night sky was clear, and the stars twinkled brightly. "Marcus, I'm so glad you're here with me. These family events can be so overwhelming, but with you, I feel like I can handle anything," Isabella said, leaning against him. Marcus kissed the top of her head. "I'm always here, Isabella, for you, and I have to say, I'm impressed by how gracefully you handle all of this. You're a natural leader, and it shows." Just then, they heard a commotion inside. A waiter had accidentally dropped a tray of champagne glasses, and the sound of shattering glass filled the air. The guests gasped, and there was a moment of chaos. Isabella and Marcus rushed back inside to see if they could help. Isabella, ever the hostess, quickly took charge, making sure the broken glass was cleaned up and the guests were calmed. As the night came to an end, Isabella and Marcus drove home, exhausted but happy. They reflected on the events of the evening, from Amelia's petty remarks to the promising business opportunities. Despite the little bumps in the road, tonight was a success, Isabella said, looking at Marcus. Marcus nodded. Yes, it was, and it just goes to show that no matter what comes our way, we can face it together. They arrived home, looking forward to another day of their sweet life, filled with love, laughter, and new adventures. The days following the grandmother's birthday passed in a blissful haze of domestic harmony and professional progress. Isabella was buoyed by the new business leads from the party, and she and her team at Thompson Enterprises began to explore potential partnerships in earnest. Marcus, too, found himself increasingly involved in the company's security and strategic planning, his expertise proving invaluable. One morning, as Isabella was poring over reports in her home office, she received a call from her great-uncle, a patriarch within the family who had a reputation for being old-fashioned and set in his ways. "Isabella, my dear," he began, his voice gruff yet laced with a hint of concern. "I've been hearing some things about you and this young man. Marcus, I understand you're happy, but you must remember your family's reputation. A private investigator, no matter how charming, isn't exactly the kind of match we envision for Thompson Heiresses." Isabella's grip on the phone tightened, but she remained calm. "Great-uncle, Marcus is so much more than his profession. He has been my rock through all the challenges Thompson Enterprises has faced. He's intelligent, loyal, and has a heart of gold. I love him, and he loves me. Our relationship is built on a foundation of mutual respect and support, and I won't let anyone question it." The great-uncle huffed on the other end. "Well, I hope you know what you're doing. The family name is at stake, and we can't afford any more scandals." After hanging up, Isabella sat back in her chair, a mix of frustration and determination on her face. Marcus, who had been passing by the office, noticed her distress and stepped in. "What's wrong, love?" he asked, his voice gentle. Isabella recounted the conversation, and Marcus' jaw tightened. "I won't let anyone come between us, Isabella. We've faced too much together for that. If your family can't see how happy we make each other, that's their loss." Isabella nodded, grateful for Marcus' support. "You're right, and I'm not going to let this derail us. We have work to do." That afternoon, Isabella had a meeting with a potential partner interested in a joint venture in the emerging field of sustainable finance. The meeting was held at a trendy co-working space in the heart of the city. As Isabella and Marcus entered, they were struck by the modern, eco-friendly decor. The potential partner, a young and passionate entrepreneur named Lily, was full of innovative ideas. However, as the discussion progressed, it became clear that there were significant differences in their business models. Lily was more focused on a grassroots approach, while Isabella saw the potential for a more large-scale, corporate-driven initiative. Marcus, who had been quietly observing, interjected, "What if we could find a middle ground? Combine Lily's passion for grassroots efforts with Thompson Enterprises' resources and reach. We could create a powerful force for change in the sustainable finance sector." Isabella and Lily looked at each other, then at Marcus. Realization dawning. That's brilliant. Marcus Isabella said, her eyes lighting up. We could start pilot projects in some of the communities Lily is already working with, using Thompson's capital and expertise to scale them up. Lily nodded enthusiastically. I think that could work. It would be a win-win for both of us. The meeting ended on a high note, with plans to meet again soon to iron out the details, as Isabella and Marcus left the co-working space. They were both excited about the new opportunity. Back at home, Isabella received another call. This time from her grandmother. Isabella, I heard about your conversation with your great uncle. Don't pay him any mind. I've seen how happy you and Marcus make each other. And that's all that matters. You follow your heart. My dear. Isabella felt a lump form in her throat. Thank you, grandmother. That means the world to me. As the evening fell, Isabella and Marcus sat on their balcony, sipping wine and looking out at the city lights. They knew that challenges would always be a part of their lives, whether from family, business, or other sources, but they were also confident that their love and their combined strength would see them through anything. And as they toasted to a future filled with possibilities, they looked forward to whatever adventures awaited them next. The day of the wedding finally arrived, and Isabella and Marcus made the scenic drive to the vineyard. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the rolling hills and rows of grapevines. As they pulled up to the entrance, they were greeted by a beautiful archway adorned with white roses and green ivy. The sound of soft music drifted through the air, and guests in their finest attire were mingling, sipping champagne. Isabella in a stunning navy blue cocktail dress that accentuated her figure, and Marcus, looking dapper in a well-tailored suit, made their way towards the ceremony area. Just as they were about to take their seats, they heard a commotion. The bride, looking flustered, was talking to one of the wedding planners. The caterer just called. There's been a major accident on the highway, and they were stuck in traffic. They might not make it in time, the bride said, her voice filled with panic. Isabella, ever the problem solver, stepped forward. Don't worry. We'll figure something out. Marcus, do you remember that Italian place we went to last month? They do amazing catering. I'll give them a call and see if they can whip something up last minute. Marcus nodded and immediately pulled out his phone to start making calls to other local restaurants as backup, while Isabella was on the phone, trying to convince the Italian restaurant to take on the last-minute catering job. Marcus noticed an old acquaintance, a wealthy businessman named Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins had been involved in some sustainable development projects in the past. Marcus, it's great to see you. I heard about Thompson Enterprises for into sustainable finance. That's quite the initiative, Mr. Jenkins said, shaking Marcus's hand. Marcus, seizing the opportunity, engaged Mr. Jenkins in a conversation about potential partnerships. We were really excited about it. Mr. Jenkins, Isabella has some incredible ideas, and we were looking for like-minded partners. Would you be interested in discussing it further? Mr. Jenkins nodded, his eyes lighting up. Absolutely. I've been looking for a way to expand my portfolio in that area. Let's set up a meeting next week. Isabella, meanwhile, had managed to secure the Italian restaurant services. The bride, overjoyed, hugged Isabella tightly. I didn't know what I would have done without you. You're a lifesaver. As the ceremony began, Isabella and Marcus took their seats, a sense of accomplishment and excitement filling them. The bride walked down the aisle, looking radiant, and the vows were exchanged in a beautiful, heartfelt ceremony. During the reception, Isabella and Marcus couldn't help but steal glances at each other, imagining their own future wedding. As the night wore on, Isabella and Marcus danced under the stars, surrounded by the happy couple and their friends. They laughed, they talked, and they celebrated love. And as they made their way back to their car, exhausted but happy, they knew that this day had been more than just a friend's wedding. It had been a reminder of the importance of being there for others, of seizing opportunities, and of the love that bound them together. Back at home, as they got ready for bed, Isabella turned to Marcus. Today was amazing. Not just the wedding, but everything. Solving the catering issue, meeting Mr. Jenkins. It just feels like our lives are so full. Marcus smiled and pulled her close. It's because we have each other, Isabella. We can face anything as long as we ray together. And as they drifted off to sleep, they were filled with a sense of contentment, looking forward to whatever new adventures awaited them in their shared life. The morning after the wedding, Isabella and Marcus woke up to the soft sunlight filtering through the curtains. They lay in bed for a while, reliving the events of the previous day. Isabella's mind was already racing with ideas for the meeting with Mr. Jenkins. Marcus, I think this partnership with Mr. Jenkins could be a game changer for our sustainable finance project. We need to prepare a detailed presentation that showcases all the potential benefits and our long-term vision, she said, propping herself up on one elbow. Marcus nodded in agreement. You're right. I'll reach out to our team and start gathering the necessary data. We should also look into Mr. Jenkins' past projects to see how our approaches can align. The couple worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses. They hired a team of elite security guards to patrol the office and their penthouse. Isabella met with high-ranking police officers, sharing what they knew about the syndicate and asking for their assistance. Marcus continued his investigation, trying to uncover more about the organization structure and their plans. One day, as Isabella was leaving the office, she noticed a strange man loitering near her car. Before she could react, the man approached her, his face hidden behind a dark hood. You'd better stop your little sustainable finance project. Isabella Thompson, the syndicate doesn't take kindly to people who get in their way, he growled. Isabella, though scared, refused to show it. I'm not going to be intimidated. The work we're doing is important, and we won't let you or your organization stop us, she replied firmly. The man sneered and walked away. Isabella immediately called Marcus. Marcus, they just made their first move, and threatened me outside the office. We need to act quickly. Marcus was furious. I won't let them hurt you. Isabella, we're going to fight back. I've got an idea. We'll set a trap for the syndicate. Use our knowledge of their tactics against them. Over the next few days, Isabella and Marcus, with the help of the police, carefully crafted a plan. They leaked false information about the sustainable finance project, making it seem like Thompson Enterprises was about to make a major move that would directly undermine the syndicate's operations. As expected, the syndicate took the bait. A group of their members, believing they had a chance to stop Thompson Enterprises in its tracks, gathered at a secluded warehouse on the outskirts of the city, but they didn't realize that they were walking into a trap. Isabella, Marcus, and the police team waited patiently. When the members of the syndicate were all inside the warehouse, they moved in. The ensuing confrontation was intense, but with their combined efforts, they were able to apprehend the group. With the syndicate's immediate threat neutralized, Isabella and Marcus could finally breathe a sigh of relief. They knew that there would always be challenges in their lives, but they were confident that, as long as they stood together, they could overcome anything. And as they prepared to face the next phase of their personal and professional lives, they were more determined than ever to make a difference in the world of finance and in each other's lives. Just as Isabella and Marcus began to relax, confident that they had dealt a significant blow to the syndicate, new signs of trouble emerged. The arrested members of the syndicate had been surprisingly tight-lipped during interrogations, leading Marcus to suspect that there was a more powerful and well-organized core within the organization that was still at large. One morning, Isabella received an anonymous package at her office. When she opened it, she found a broken doll with a note attached. Reading this is just a warning. You can stop us. Her blood ran cold, and she immediately called Marcus. Marcus, they're still out there. This is terrifying. What should we do? Marcus, trying to keep his voice calm, replied, Don't worry, Isabella. This is just a scary tactic, but we need to be even more vigilant. I'll see if I can get some more information from my contacts about any potential retaliation plans. Meanwhile, Isabella's parents, who had been abroad for an extended period, finally returned home. They were excited to meet Marcus properly and catch up with Isabella. However, Isabella was nervous about how her traditional-minded parents would react to Marcus, especially given their recent troubles with the syndicate. The evening of the family dinner arrived. Isabella and Marcus dressed up, and Marcus brought a bouquet of flowers for Isabella's mother. As they entered Isabella's childhood home, Isabella's parents greeted them with warm smiles, background, and their work. But as the conversation turned to Marcus's at Thompson Enterprises, Isabella could sense a slight tension. Isabella's father, a man of few words, finally spoke up. Marcus, I appreciate that you've been there for Isabella, but I'm worried about the risks you two are taking. This sustainable finance project and the trouble with this so-called syndicate. It seems very dangerous. Marcus looked at Isabella's father sincerely. Sir, I understand your concerns, but Isabella and I believe in the work we're doing. We